Powered by Virginia Radio.
Hello, and thanks for joining me here at Let Me Say Something podcast, sponsored by Powered by Virginia. And I appreciate y'all being here. My name is Big Al. I am the HNIC. And before I get into what the podcast is going to be about, real quick, just want to make a quick statement here, folks. I've been talking to some corresponding with some other podcasters, and in order to get this going, in order to make sure they get monetized, a lot of times you have to kind of change what you do. You have to modify it. You have to do what the sponsors tell you to do. Okay. In this particular case, and when I say sponsors, I'm talking about the ones that are going to be monetizing your podcast. Now, just want you to know, in this particular case, I'm not changing anything. You know, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to keep bringing you the truth. I'm going to keep bringing you what I feel that you need to hear. It's not going to always be pleasant, but I think it's necessary. So I need your help in order to expand the podcast. So please share it with somebody. Tell somebody about it. Let me say something every Friday at 3 o'clock. I need your help, and I appreciate y'all for being here and for listening. So let's move on. Okay. So as I said, I'm here powered by Virginia. Anybody wants to call in 757-964-9367. And the title is going to be The Myth and Slander of Black Fathers. Black fathers have gotten a pretty bad rap, okay? We have, you remember these names? James Evans Jr., Philip Banks, Cliff Huxtable, Fred G. Sanford, George Jefferson, Carl Winslow. You got to remember those names? Yeah. They're all television fathers, black, and they're all black, and they're all can be related by my community, which is the black community. Now, these are excellent examples of black fathers providing and protecting and loving their families. They stood strong. They took the bullshit that the racist world threw at them, and when they came home, their woman supported them and comforted them and provided a safe haven and a calm home. That sounds beautiful, doesn't it? So what happened? You know, we are going into we have a stigma with black fathers. You know, and if you check that, if you really research that and take a look at it, you'll see that is a I don't want to use the word conspiracy. Okay, but it is an effort. It's a group effort to in my opinion, take the black man's masculinity away. Now, unfortunately, some of the black women are buying this, and I'm going to that in just a few minutes. You know, if you search the media, all types, it doesn't matter what the media is. Modern black women are claiming to be independent, which is cool. Nothing wrong with that. But their so-called independence usually comes at the expense of a black man. Now that the modern woman is getting better educated and stepping into a higher paying job, they are questioning the need for a man to co-parent a child. In other words, they're drinking the Kool-Aid. They really are. They're believing that after conception, some of them, a man is unnecessary. And more single black women are making the decision to have a child and not involve the child's father. And for many of you, it's a constant. It's a decision that you're making. You're making that decision on purpose. Now, are there a bunch of jerk men out here that are going around having babies and making babies and leaving babies? There's some out there, yeah. But I gotta tell you, those are guys that I don't know. I don't know those guys. Every guy that I know takes care of his family, takes care of his kid. I don't know if any man And this is the truth. This is true. I don't know of any man, black man, that doesn't take care of his kid. And if I find one that does, he can't be my friend. So if you don't take care of your kids, how can you? I can't be your friend, brother. But a lot of black women are drinking the Kool-Aid and thinking this to be true. A lot of this is not totally their fault. I mean, a lot of stuff that some men bring on ourselves. But ladies, keep in mind you're choosing these men to have babies with, and you have 80% of the women choosing a small 20% of the men. So these men are procreating over and over and over and over again, and with different women, and then you're expecting them to be fathers when they laid down with you. That wasn't the case. That's not what was on their mind. Now I've gone over this before in a previous podcast, so I'm not gonna belabor the point as far as statistics and everything else there, although I will mention it. But keep in mind too that it's not necessarily the modern black woman's fault. It really isn't. There are so many images that exist of black men being irrelevant. If you go to commercials, movies, news media, even rap music, the government, TV. I mean, if you look at, when was the last time you saw a movie that showed a responsible black father dealing with his family? When was the last time you saw that movie? There may be one or two. I remember something with Idris Elba years ago. But basically, when you put a black man and a black woman together, it's very contentious. They're arguing, they're fighting, etc. They're yelling, they're screaming. Okay, so it's not so, and that's what the media keeps portraying, and they portray it so often that people starting to believe it. I was listening to this show a little while ago. It was on YouTube. It was on YouTube, but it was a comedy show. They were roasting someone. I can't remember who they were roasting. It may have been Shaq, but I'm not sure. But they were roasting somebody, and this white female comedian got up here and she made a joke about fatherhood, and she said, "Oh, somebody tell Ludacris what a father is." And Ludacris looked kind of upset. But we're a joke. Black fatherhood has turned into a joke, and the joke is that a lot of black women are believing it. That the black men don't take care of their kids, that we can't handle responsibility, we don't want to be with them, and that is not true for the majority. That's simply not true for the majority. Now, it may be true for the man you chose, but that's on you. But for the majority, it's not true. 64% of all black men are with their children and families. Now, if you go on the street and ask somebody, they ask them the same question, what's the percentage? They'll probably say 20, 30, 15. It'll be a low percentage. And that's because of all the images that we're seeing. That's because of all the images that we're seeing. And black men, we have to take some responsibility on it. There are some of y'all out there that aren't doing the right thing. There are some of y'all out there that are just sitting there, busting a seed in somebody and trying to, so you can keep her for the next 18 years. I heard a young guy say that some months back. He said, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna get her pregnant, man, so we can be together for a long time." He actually said it, and his boys was like, "Yeah, man, yeah, she fine." I'm like, what in the bizarro world is going on, man? You want to get her pregnant on purpose. You're not going to marry her. You want her to be there for you so you can have sex with her as often as you like, and you're a father. He didn't say anything about being a father. He didn't say anything about that. So we bring it on ourselves, black men. Some of us do. But ladies, you have a choice. You have a choice to not involve that black man in the child's life, or to involve him in your child's life. Statistics stats already say that a child that has a strong father image in his life, or a strong father in his or her life, they're more confident, they're more focused, they do better in school, they're more productive when there's a father involved, they're more in control of their emotions, and they're more likely to achieve success if a father is involved. Remember what I said about focus. So every stat that's ever been taken over the last 20 years says involve fathers in your child's life. Now, black women, some of y'all get a little emotional. That black man cheated on you and blah, 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 and you want to hurt him. So what do you say? Nah, you know, can I speak? And I'm speaking from experience on this one. You know, let me speak to my daughter. Oh, she's asleep. I can hear her in the background. She's asleep. In other words, you try to punish the man for something. You try to punish the man by keeping him from his daughter, but you're also punishing about the child. Excuse me. But you're also punishing the child by keeping him from his father, his or her father. Listen, I've said before over and over again that freedom is not free, okay? And this still has something, this still is part of that. This is still part of that. You have to understand that as a group, we are much stronger together than we are apart. We cannot be, as Booker T. Washington says, separate like the fingers and together as the hand. We can't do that. Not as a community, we can't. You know, we have to make sure that we're doing everything we can to promote ourselves, to raise up the community. You know, I would ask black men, you know, if you have children, you're not involved, why are you not involved? Why are you not involved? I had to ask myself that question. You know, I'm not immune to it. I had to ask myself that question. You know, because their mother and I, we fought like cats and dogs, man. Like cats and dogs. And I said, if I don't ever speak to that so-and-so, that blanket woman again, that's fine with me. Then I realized that I had to go ahead and talk to the kids. I couldn't leave the kids alone and without some type of influence from me. You know, but once again, that's another story. But excuse me for 1 second, there we go. That's another story. You know, so a lot of you are probably going to call in or send them a text or whatever and say, well, what, well, you men, you black men, y'all don't want to do this, y'all don't want to do that, etc. and so forth. You know, I try to do this, y'all don't. I'm not saying all black men are perfect. I'm just saying that black fathers are necessary. You know, now usually the woman that knows this is one that was raised by a black father. You know, women that weren't raised by a black father or raised in a household full of women, you all have some challenges that you have to deal with. You all have some misinformation about men that you have to deal with. You guys are dealing with hurt on top of hurt. You got hurt. Your mama said, see, I told you you're going to get hurt. And her mama said, men ain't blah, blah, blah. You know, girl, you'd be better off by yourself. And you probably would be, but not the kid. Not your child. You know, some of you are not even telling these men that they have children. Or worse, you're telling them they have children, but you tell them you don't need them, I don't want you to be involved. You know, everybody saw, remember, you guys saw on YouTube a little while ago where this woman had multiple kids. She had like 3 or 4 different kids. The guy brought his one kid McDonald's. And she cursed him out from top to bottom. Cursed him out from top to bottom and said, how dare you bring just one of my kids, and get this, one of my kids food and not bring food for all my other kids. Now she had 4 total kids. One of them was his, the other 3 were not. And if you saw the video, he was looking at her like she was crazy. She said, I'm bringing, those aren't my kids. She said, you don't bring my kids, you don't bring one kid food and not the rest of my kids. You bring all my kids food. And she and now keep in mind, she filmed this. He didn't film this. She filmed it. She saw him because he had called her and told her, "Hey, I'm bringing food for whatever the kid's name was. It was his son." And you know, and she said, and she's at the window. Look at this fool. She's filming him getting out the car. She's filming him bringing. He had a good sized bag of food for McDonald's. He had a big old drink. And this guy's smiling because, man, he's going to see his kid and give her something. And she stopped and she stepped out the door blocked him from coming in, blocked the kid from seeing him, and then said and asked him the question, where's the rest of the food for the rest of my kids? And he thought she was crazy. He was just dumbified. To make a long story short, she took the food and threw it on the ground. And told him, you can't bring food for all my kids. Don't bring for none of my kids. And she got ripped so bad for that she actually turned around and made another YouTube video trying to explain herself. I'm like, what can you possibly say? But once again, a lot of times emotions get involved. A lot of times fathers aren't involved simply because of the emotion of the mother. Sometimes the emotions of the father. Okay? Because sometimes, I'm gonna tell y'all from my experience, sometimes you get tired of fighting with her. You get tired of fighting. You get tired. And for all you black men out there that have gone through what I've gone through dealing with a woman that's irrational, okay, hang in there. Don't give up. Because at some point I gave up. That was a mistake on my part. Don't give up. Keep going. Keep pursuing the kid. Keep trying to get involved in their life. I don't care how old they get. I don't care if they're 30. You keep going. Black women, I want to ask you, stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Stop believing that you don't need a man to raise your child. Stop believing that black men are worthless. Because if they are worthless, what does that make you if you're sleeping with them, having babies? As I told you, I'm going to tell the truth. And everybody's not going to like it. Look, we are, when we're together, for years we were the strongest community. We were the strongest community in the United States. We were stronger than white people. We were stronger than Asians. We were the strongest community. We were so strong that they had to make laws to stop us. They had to make laws to stop us. Being 7/8 of a person. It's against the law to have blacks learn to read and write. We were so strong that they had to make laws to stop us. So it was a concerted effort by the government to do that. In 1970, they became ingenious. And they started to break up the black family. Have you ever heard of welfare? One of the most diabolical things that could ever happen. Welfare now is out. At one point, it was out of control, but welfare was started to help poor families. Now, remember, most of the families that were poor that were being helped by welfare to this day are white families. There are far more white families on welfare than black families, far more. But when you talk welfare, everybody thinks about a black person. You think about that black woman who's sitting in her hotel, sitting in a 2-bedroom apartment with 6 kids, waiting for a welfare check. Once again, without a man. There was a time back in the 70s when, you couldn't have a man that's working and get a welfare check. So if you were married and you had a man work, you didn't get a welfare check. So a lot of women went for the check as opposed to the man. Because they thought they could have both. I can have the check, I can have the man, etc. But it didn't end up working. But years later, it didn't end up working like that. It worked just to the opposite. It split us up. At this particular point in our black culture, in our black survival, and we are now reduced to babies' daddies that are thought of. I should say thought of, because like I said, I haven't met any man that's not responsible for his kids, that doesn't take care of his kids. But they're thought of as being irresponsible. They're thought of as being non-caring, and all they want to do is walk around and just spread seeds. Black women, You got to stop perpetuating that as well. You're saying now, because now you're at the point where, you know what, I'm making my own money. I got my own kids. I don't think I need a man. I don't think I need a man. And again, I'm going to tell you, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. But that child does. Desperately. Desperately. Now, I'm an old guy, and man, it does my heart good to see young brothers taking care of their kids. It does my heart good, man. And I see that almost everywhere I go. And there are a few exceptions here and there, don't get me wrong. But I see it everywhere I go. Guys doing things, changing their lives, doing kinds of things to make it right for their kids, make themselves right for their kids, and to make it so their kids can grow up right. It does me proud. Black women, you need the fathers of these children that you're having in their lives. If that person is irresponsible or foolish or cheated, etc., remember, you chose them, you picked them. But I guarantee you, most of them are not. The ones that are probably listening right now, most of you ladies that have children, most of these men most of the men that are connected to these children are not irresponsible. Most of these men that are connected to their children want to be with their children. Once again, they may not want to be with you, but they definitely want to be with their child. Don't make it hard for them. Don't interrupt them. Because as I said earlier, every single stat says a child is better off with the influence of a responsible father than not. Because only a man can teach a boy to be a man. Daughters come out stronger. They find that daughters make better choices when their father's involved. When it comes to boys and men, when fathers are involved, daughters don't make the choice of having sex till later. If you go and look some of the TikTok videos, etc., they have these videos where these women, I can't remember, it was a black woman. She had her first child at 12. Her daughter had a child at 14, and her mother had her. Let me think for a second. It was like 3 years. The mother had a child at 12. Her daughter had a child at 14. The grandmother had a child when she was like 14 or 15, and because they were posting all that stuff. I'm not making this up. They were posting it, and they're all dancing because I guess they're all pretty cute. Grandma looked pretty young. If she had them at 13 or 14, I guess she would be. But they were all dancing. Like, not a man in sight. Not a man in sight. Not a man in sight. And the daughter was pregnant. They kept repeating the same mistake. Now I'm assuming it worked out for them in the sense that that because they look like they have living in a pretty nice house or apartment. They were dressed nice. They all were very attractive. So I feel that maybe they feel it worked out for them. But it's not a blueprint that you want to keep repeating over and over again. They were repeating the cycle over and over and over again like it was okay. Nobody learned nothing. Not a man anywhere. And it is proven that a daughter with a concerned and responsible father in her life will hold off having sex, will be a better judge of men, boys and men, be more confident. And keep in mind, confidence is a lot of reason why the confidence is a reason why a lot of these girls do not get pregnant. Because they feel good about themselves. a lot of girls that don't feel good about themselves, they end up looking for validation. And there are so many boys out here that will validate them, believe me. No matter how you slice it, no matter how you cut it, no matter how you men, fathers are important. Fathers are important. The images you see on TV, how many commercials do you see where there's a happy man and a happy black man and a happy black woman with children? There's not that many images. Now you might see a happy black man for white woman, a happy black woman for black or with a white man or a Hispanic man or Asian man. But as far as a couple, a black man and black woman on TV with a child, parenting together, happily, you won't see it much. I challenge you today, this weekend, look for that. Look for that. Look for commercials. They have a black man and a black woman and a child. Most of the time, you see a black woman with a child, and then that same commercial, it'll have a white man and a white woman with their child, and they're happy, but not the black woman. She's by herself, more than likely faking a smile. In movies, the same thing. Black fathers are important. But when you make a movie about a black father, it doesn't make money. That's why you don't see those movies. Nobody goes to those movies. When Cliff Huxtable came out, Dr. Cliff Huxtable, I remember that show first coming out. A lot of black people upset because they said there's nobody like that. There's a doctor, lawyer. He's a responsible father. He has all these kids. No, there's no black. There's no. That's a fallacy. That's a fake, a phony. There's an article in Ebony about it. Is it real? I'm not sure how much more I have to do to convince you all that fathers are important. I'm not sure how much the studies that came out are showing fathers are important all across the board, particularly in the black community. The images are important. In the news media, oh my God. Every time they go up to a black father or something like that, they usually go to a black mother, but they usually go to a black father. This guy is so torn up and so beat down. It's like, why is he on camera? And they promote that as a person, they promote that version of black parenthood to the rest of the world. TV, same thing. And my question to you would be, why would black fathers not be important? Why would you choose not to involve the person that you had a child with in that child's life? Now that child had nothing to do with the choice of a parent. He didn't choose that black man as a parent. Didn't choose you either. So he or she had no choice in the matter. And by them having no choice, I would think they need to be exposed to it. Now, if you made a bad choice, as far as the father of your child, it happens. It happens. I can't say too much about that. Except for it happens. But I can say that you're responsible for creating some kind of that you're responsible for creating a bond with that man concerning the child. Now he or she doesn't have to be with you, but concerning the child. I would ask you, try not to interfere with that too much. And yes, there are exceptions, and I'm not talking about the crazy brother that goes out there that he wants to shoot, kill. I'm not talking about that guy. I'm talking about a regular guy. Works every day. Okay? May or may not be a player, but it doesn't mean he's a bad person. Does not mean he doesn't want to be a father of his kid. I saw a guy on divorce court months back. He had like 9 kids, seven different baby mamas. I was like, wow. and they were all there, all of them pissed at him. Matter of fact, he has so many babies mamas that he barely had a check. I think he said he was making. I think he said he was making like $70 something like that after everybody took a piece of the money. That poor dude was crying on the divorce court, man. I felt a little bad for him. You know, but what he did say was that he wanted to be in a child's life, and what they were saying was that you're not giving them no money, etc. You're not doing this, that little. That little, he must not be making very much money. One woman was getting like $37.50 a week or something like that, and they weren't getting very much. So he wasn't making that much money. I'm not sure how that works out, but I just kind of saw the show, glimpse at it. But he wasn't. But apparently he wasn't making that much money. He wasn't. They were taking money out of his check, So I can't think what that did. I can't remember the show. I want to say Divorce Code. It may not have been Divorce Code. It may have been a different show. But he was definitely he had a lot of kids, and they were definitely getting a piece of that. Okay, and they were not going to relent. As far as what type of father he was, I don't know. He said he was a good father. He said he wanted to be with his kids. So I don't know. But once again, they all made the choice to sleep with this guy and have babies with him. That's a choice that they made. The child, again, has no choice. The child has no choice. So if the child doesn't have a choice, why would you interfere with that? And men, if you're out here making these babies, do the responsible thing. Okay? Do the responsible thing. Step up. Step up. Because we have a whole community that needs you. We have a whole community that needs fathers. We have a whole community that needs direction, and the fathers are the ones that's going to give it. We have children that we have children that need direction. And they're certainly not getting as much as they obviously need. Here where I am, we just opened up. The school just opened up, and come to find out, I think the first or second day of school was that. I don't know if you heard about this, Loud, where the kid shot and killed somebody. It was a high school. He killed the teenage kid in Chesapeake, and then shot the teacher too.
Nah, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, man, this happened like 2 days ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, they had just opened. School just started, and boom, it was over an argument. And I brought that up to say I'm very curious to see whether or not that boy, what his home life is. Does he have direction? Does he have a father? Who's raising him? That type of thing. Is he being raised by the grandmother? Because I talked to a lot of kids. In my prior life, I talked to a lot of kids, and a lot of them were raised by grandparents, and the grandparents can't keep up.
Right.
They just can't keep up.
Yeah, how? They can't. There's no way.
They do the best they can. They do the best they can. But things, child parenting has changed. Even from me, even when I was raising kids, things have changed. All my kids are grown. Things have changed.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. The student shot another student and a teacher.
Yeah.
In Chesapeake.
It was in Chesapeake. Yep.
I ain't heard about that yet.
Yeah, man. It's like, I couldn't believe it.
Did the teacher and the student live, or?
I don't think the student lived. I'm not sure about the teacher.
Wow.
I'm not sure, but I think the student was killed.
Yeah, these kids are making big mistakes, man.
They really did. And once again, a lot of times, it was over. It was over. It was over something minor. They were having a fight or something like that. The fight escalated. Usually when a guy pulls out a gun, he's getting mopped. Okay, so the fight escalated, and then boom, boom. And I'm assuming the teacher came to break it up. Boom. Those are situations we're trying to avoid. Those are situations that here in the black community, if we have leadership in the home, those things wouldn't happen nearly as much. Fathers, we need you back in the homes if you're not there. And once again, based on the stats, 64% of all fathers are in the home. Okay, based on the stats. Now, there's a lot of women out there choosing to live alone with their child. They don't want the person living with them. But that doesn't mean that person should not be part of that child's life. You know, being a father reaches far deeper than what you can imagine. Because what the father teaches you at 7, 8, 9, 10, you may not come back to it for 20 years. But the teaching is still there. You may not reference it for years later, but the teaching is still there. You know, my father would tell me all the time, he said, boy, you're not going to remember this, but one day you will. I'm like, what that old man talking about? And sure enough, there's a situation, it comes right back to me. I'm grown. Okay, that's what he meant. I see. Because remember, all what a father does 24/7 is to teach and show his kid how to be a man. Most times, he ain't got to say nothing. Why? Because a kid, your son particularly, but all your children are watching you. How you interact with their mother. How you interact with other people. How you interact with them, the teachers. They're watching. Fatherhood goes far deeper than you imagine. A lot of you ladies just think it's about paying bills and you know, getting paid. No. Don't make that mistake. Don't shortchange your child like that. Fatherhood is deeper. Fathers show their children how to act, and they don't have to say a word. They don't have to say a word. They show how to command respect without using violence. How to talk to people with respect. Fathers are teaching that. Fathers are teaching that type of thing. And ladies, I know that some of you say, well, I can be father and mama to my baby. No, you cannot. I have 3 daughters. I had 3 daughters. I have 3 daughters and 1 son. And I cannot teach my daughters to be women. I can raise them up to womanhood. I can teach them how to be contributing members to society. I can teach them how to carry themselves, etc. I can teach them how to act around men, but I cannot teach them how to be women, because there are certain things that only a mother can teach a girl, a daughter. The same thing with fatherhood. You cannot teach your boy to be a man, although you can get him to manhood. You can get him to manhood now, safe and sound. Okay? But there are certain things that are beyond you as a female that you cannot teach your son, because you have never been there. You've never gone through it. You know, it takes me all of 3 minutes to talk to somebody, know whether or not they were raised by a mother or a father, or both. And the reason being is that someone that, and it's not all, and I'm not always right, don't get me wrong, but most of the time, a guy that's raised, a man, I won't say a man, he's a man now, raised by a woman, he's a lot more emotional than other men. He's a lot more impatient. You know, he can't control himself when he wants something. You know, he may revert to violence a little bit more quickly, or he may, or he may be a little bit more softer, on it. It's one of 2 things: either be a little harder, a little softer. Okay, and once again, when you don't have a direction, as far as manhood is concerned, you don't know how to act properly. You're guessing at it. You're faking it. Again, fathers are important. And I'm going to ask you ladies to stop drinking the Kool-Aid that the media gives you, whether it's TV, movies, commercials. I'm going to ask you to stop believing and this is going to be a tough one, stop believing what your mother and grandmother are saying when it comes to men. Those are the men they chose. You need to make better choices. I'm going to ask the men out there, stop trying to drop your seed and run on, because she's fine. If she's become pregnant, then you need to do the right thing. You need to step up. And we need to have more men stepping up, more black men stepping up to the plate to take care of our sons and daughters. Our women need help. Our women need help. Some women don't even know they need help. You know, what's that phrase? I heard of someone say, you gotta tell me what it is. She says, I got the bag, or something about what is that, man?
Got the money.
Oh, the money. Okay. She said, I got the bag. You know, so I says, I got the bag. What I need a man for? I'm like, bag? What the hell is she talking about? Okay, now it makes sense. Okay. So she got the money. Okay. Now I'm gonna say this one stat to you. 74.9% of all black single mothers are living at or below the poverty line. So when she says bag, I don't know how much she's talking about. Okay? I really don't. But unless she's in that, unless she's in that 24.1%, she might have an issue paying the bills and all that herself. Besides that, man, I don't know anybody that wants to do that themselves. You know, shoot, even we men want some help. Wouldn't mind some help sometimes, yeah, baby. You know, and when I was married, my wife would say, "I'll pay the electric bill." I would be great with that. I would have been great with that. But back to the subject, ladies, you need to let the fathers in. You need to let them do what they do. Okay, and another thing, don't interfere with that. Okay, a lot of you ladies have children, and then all of a sudden they're young, and you've been raising them till they're 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then a man comes along and he wants to be part of it, and he wants to bring everybody as a family. And then when he starts to discipline and talk to particularly the boys, you interject, you interfere. You know, you can't talk to my boys like that. No, actually he can and he should. You know, you don't discipline my boys. Yeah, he should. And all I'm saying is that we let the fathers do what they do. Okay, even the stepfathers. You know, and I'm gonna tell you, man, my hat's off to stepfathers, man, because that's one tough job. You know, for a lot of men, some of the ones I've taught, it's a thankless job. Because you can't win. You cannot win as a stepfather. You know, the woman wants the man in her life to help her. But a lot of you women want that man in your life to help you with the bills. When it comes to raising the kids and all that, no, you got to leave my kids alone. You can't talk to my kids. I'll handle my kids. And you might not have another kid even for him.
For real.
Yeah. You know, I don't want to go. I don't want to get too far off the subject, but all that has to do with fatherhood. You know, when a stepfather goes in, man, I tip my hat to that brother. I tip my hat to that brother, because from what I've seen, it is tough to do that. You know, unless her kids are damn near grown. And y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm not saying there's not exceptions out there. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying with a lot of stepfathers, you know, say, man, how's it going? How's it going, man? How's it going? And they're like, it's going all right, Al. All right, man. You know. So I mean, ladies, you gotta let go. Particularly if you have sons. I mean, some of you ladies out here have nothing but sons. You know, you gotta let the man do that, because you've been letting those boys be emotional, do what they want to do, yelling, screaming, cursing, you know, impatient, and all that kind of stuff. What's going to happen is that a man's going to come in and say, y'all need to chill out and sit your asses down and shut up. Don't you come running around the corner. What you talking about baby for like that? Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. But let me get back to staying on point here. Let me stay back on point, okay? Then we're going to go ahead and conclude this. All right. Ladies, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Fathers are needed. They're needed for emotional support. They're needed for comfort. They're needed for advice. We are needed for direction, for guidance. We are needed, and we are valuable. And we are valuable. And I know I'm speaking to you ladies, etc. But I'm speaking to a lot of you men out there, especially some of you young ones. Okay? Making a baby is no joke. Making a baby is no joke. Don't get me wrong, I was young one time. How did you get her pregnant? I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. But nah. And it's not a joke. Because the baby did not ask to be here. And if the baby is here, we as in he and you, the man and the woman, need to do the best job they can to raise that kid the best way they can. Whether y'all like each other or not. And again, it took me a long time to learn this. I'm telling you from experience. It took me a long time to learn this. Because I was angry. I was angry. But the kids had nothing to do with that. But we used the kids as pawns. We used the kids. We did. I'm not proud of it, but it happened. Young and foolish. You know, a lot of times young and foolish turns old and foolish. So be careful. But I'm going to leave you with this. Okay? The black community is much better when we're working in sync with each other than we're not. I want all of you to go back and handle your responsibilities. For you ladies out there, let the man come in if he wants to come in. Let him do that. Don't punish him because you're angry at him. Men, please, just don't get angry at her because she's moved on and she got another boyfriend, etc. But she has your kid. Don't start trying to knock down doors. I want no man next to my kid. Don't start doing that. Okay? Don't do that. Let that kid get to know you. You know, because trust me, nobody else can be his father or her father but you. Okay? I want to thank y'all for stopping by and listening to me. This is the podcast, Let Me Say Something. My name is Big Al. I am the HNIC. And I will see y'all later. Loud my music, please. Bye.
Powered by Virginia. Radio.